There is a major development in a case intimately explored in the hit podcast Serial.
That's right. Prosecutors have requested a judge overturn the conviction of Adnan Syed more than 2 decades after he was found guilty of murdering his ex-girlfriend. Attorneys claim they have new evidence that could undermine his conviction. Prosecutors are not asserting Syed is innocent, but say they lack confidence in, quote, the integrity of the conviction.
Syed was sentenced to life in prison plus 30 years in 2000 for the strangling of Hae Min Lee. He was maintained his innocence for decades. Joining us now is Rabia Chaudry. She is an attorney and a family advocate for Syed. And we wanted to welcome you, Rabia. This is monumental news. Have you spoken to either Adnan or his family? And if so, have their reactions been?
Hi, thanks for having me. Yeah, I spoke to his family as well as Adnan the same evening that the motion was filed. He called me from the prison. Everybody is in good spirits. Obviously, it's very emotional. His mother wept. But we're also cautiously optimistic because we have gotten very close before to getting him a new trial and to a similar result, and then it didn't work out. So, we're still keeping our fingers crossed and taking it a day at a time.
So, Rabia, you've been involved in this case for a while then, correct? How did you first become drawn to it?
Well, it wasn't so much that I was drawn to it. I've known Adnan since he was 12 years old, and he's my younger brother's best friend. I was in law school when he was arrested. I was at his trial. I was there the day he was convicted. And I have not been able to walk away from it because I have believed in his innocence. I saw what the state presented at trial, and it was a very poorly prosecuted case. Adnan's defense counsel failed at every turn. And I've just been trying to help the family get him some justice for 23 years now.
Here's what Baltimore City State's attorney said when he announced the decision on Wednesday, quote, "My prosecutors have been sworn to not only aggressively advocate on behalf of the victims of crime, but in the pursuit of justice, when the evidence exists, to correct the wrongs of the past where doubt is evident." What do you believe are these, quote, wrongs that need to be corrected?
I mean, clearly, if you have an innocent man in prison for 23 years for a crime he didn't commit, I don't know how much more egregious a wrong could be inside the criminal justice system. Coupled with that, it means that the victim herself didn't get justice if her killer is still free.
Can you give us more details on what exactly it is that, has been uncovered? Or what is the new evidence or the new information that has brought us to this point?
Well, the motion is a very succinct 20-page motion. I encourage everybody to look it up and read it themselves online. It's an easy read. But basically, they have developed evidence regarding 2 other suspects, one of whom had directly threatened to kill the witness and make her disappear. And this had been reported to the original prosecutor, who never disclosed it to the defense. One of the suspects, the victim's car, which was never tied to Adnan, it was just found in this random place. It turned out one of the suspects, their relative lived. It was like in the backyard of the relative's house. So, that's pretty strong evidence. And this is a suspect who also happens to be tied to the location of where her body was found. But what the motion does is not just talk about the new evidence. Also, they did some DNA testing, and none of which tied anything to Adnan. But part of what they did in the motion was not just talk about the new evidence, but they also go back and talk about the basis on which he was convicted, cell phone tower evidence, and a state's witness. And they pretty much dismantle that evidence and call it not credible at all. So his conviction itself is not credible. But I do hope that they are able to make an arrest of the right person in this case soon.
So then what are the next steps in this case?
The next steps would be that, it's a motion. Like every motion, a judge has to make a ruling. So we're going to wait for a judge to schedule a hearing date, and that judge will rule on the motion. And the motion also requests that Adnan be released without any conditions, which is like almost impossible. I mean, it's very rare for something like this to happen. It never happens. So if a judge grants the motion, Adnan could come home the same day. We just don't know how long that'll take. It could take a week, a month, months. We have no idea.
All right, Rabia Chaudhry, thank you so much for the update.
Thanks, Rabia.
Thank you.